bang on the door, and I answer the door, and standing there is this giant man. It was this little boy, and he's holding this huge box of food. And beside him on the ground was a black pot with an uncooked turkey in it. And he said, "Is your father home?" So I go, and my father is screaming at my mother through a closed door to the bedroom door. And I said, Dad, there's a guy at the door. And he goes, "You answer the door." I said, "I did. He's got to see you." So I kind of teased. I said, "Dad, you got to come." So he said, "Fine." He made one last yell at her, and he walks to the door. And my dad opens the door, and this man's standing there with this big box of food. And my father did not get happy. He looked at this man, and he raised his voice to him, and he said, "Look, we don't take charity." And then he took the door to slam it in the man's face. But the man was a good-sized man. He put his foot there and smacked his foot and bounced back open. He said, Sir, this is not charity. Everybody has a tough time. Somebody knows you're having a tough time." He's holding this thing, and he looked at me, and then he looked at my dad, and he said, "Don't make your family suffer because of your ego." So he took the food, slammed it on our table, and slammed the door in the man's face and never even thanked him. And I watched my father storm off and went on back to scream at my mother. And I'll tell you what he decided to do. He decided to leave our family shortly thereafter. It was the worst experience of my life. It was the most crushing experience I felt. But what changed my life was the meaning I gave it. I decided that day that what this means is that strangers care. And if strangers care about me and my family, I decided what I was going to do is I was going to care about strangers. And that completely changed my life. I did my first one when I was 17. So I got one of my buddy's old vans, because I needed a little room, put all the groceries in, and I drove to this house. And it was not what I expected, it was more. I got to this house, and I got 2 bags of groceries, and I banged on the door. Door opened, and this woman about this tall, right, stares up at me like this, right? And I said, "Hi." And it was very obvious she didn't speak any English, and she let out a scream when she saw the food. And by the way, this woman had 5 children and a husband. What I didn't know is the husband had left her 3 days before with no money, no food, and 5 kids. So I got these bags. So she screamed, and she grabbed me and started pulling my neck and like kissing me, right? And I said, no. I said, "I'm the delivery boy. And she didn't understand a word I was saying. So I reached in the pocket and I gave her the note, flipped it over. She read it in Spanish, and then she started to bawl. So then she came and started kissing me again. I said, no, I'm the delivery boy. I'm, trying to show her. And she goes, no, gift from God. So now I'm trying not to bawl. So I'm like, where do I put this? And I'm doing everything. I hold it together, like smiling, but I want to cry. And she just pointed. It wasn't a big house. It's like a room. So I went over and I put the stuff on there. And just as I'm trying to put stuff on there, I hear these screams. And all of a sudden, bam, bam. 2 boys hit me, one leg, then the other. These 2 little guys just tackle me, right? And I turned to this woman, I said, I've got to go. I went to go leave, and then she grabbed my arm. And then she grabbed and gave me this big hug, and the kids gave me these hugs. And I remember I got out and I walked off, and they were all standing on the porch. And I got in this little van, and I drove it out and I turned it around. And as I went to turn it around, I looked in the rearview mirror, and I was feeling all this emotion building in my body. And I looked in the mirror, and I saw Mama standing in the porch with her kids, all the kids smiling. Mama's sitting there crying hysterically and smiling from ear to ear. And I couldn't keep it together. I was right there, stopped in the street, and I started bawling uncontrollably. I realized in that moment that the worst day of my life, my father leaving, had actually been the best day of my life. Because if I hadn't had that experience, I wouldn't be here today. And now because of that, I'm getting to live this life. I have the desire and the drive and the want to give it this way. If you want to change your life, figure out how your worst day was your best day. It'll change everything. If you find the deeper meaning it is, it'll absolutely change your life.